What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review of Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 1, Episode 6. So, look, we picked this episode right where we left off last week. Remember, we left off with Andy going back to work, thinking she was getting ready to get fired because Gary's wife was up in the conference room with the partners and everybody. And so she goes up in there, come to find out, she ain't getting fired. Her boss told her to get her stuff because her boss wants her to take the wife out to lunch because she showed back up and she was embarrassed. So she said, I still think it's more to this story. But anyway, she was embarrassed to say that she had changed her mind after she had made this big proclamation about how her husband was going to, they were getting back together and they were working things out. She said she realized that he ended up, well, not realized, but that he ended up leaving her for the other woman. And she was just embarrassed to come back and face Andy. So Andy was like, okay, well, can you go wait in my office? I need to talk to my boss. So as soon as she left the room, her boss was like, look, I know what you're going to say. Look, at the end of the day, you're going to take this case. Do you see his net worth? Which again brings me back to why the hell did he have to stay at Andy's apartment? If his net worth is this much, you could have been in a suite at the Four Seasons or whatever. Do we even know what city this is supposed to take place in? Is it LA? Anyway, let us sister know. But you could have been somewhere else if your net worth is all of that. And come on, stop it. Neither here nor there. She tried to talk out her way out of it and told him, look, you know this is a conflict. But he was like, look, just because you slept with this man a long time ago. She said, I never said it was a long time ago. He said, well, you never told me you slept with him. I said, oh, he done tricked you into telling all of that. Okay. She said, but I told you about this conflict. He was like, I don't remember that conversation. He said, look, either you take this, basically he told her, either you take this case or you fired. And you've already agreed to take her case, which means that you put this law firm and everybody else in jeopardy, which is bullshit. She ain't signed no retainer agreement. She came in for a consultation, and both parties have a right to not accept to take the case. Just because you go see an attorney does not make them obligated to take your case. Trust me, I know. And if there's a clear conflict, they can't be forced to take the case. But okay, Tyler, we're going to let it go. Now, they go back to the office because, of course, she ain't about to quit this nice job that she making all this good money at, honey. Because what she should have done is walked her happy ass up out of there, but okay. Because just like she can't prove that she had a conversation with him about the conflict, he can't prove, because there was no paperwork signed, he can't prove that she ever agreed to take the case. I mean, my thing is we could have a good old standoff on this one. But anyway, so she takes the wife back in her office and they talking. The wife takes off the ring and says, here, this is yours anyway. And I said, oh, she really does know. But then she went on to say, I know I'm going to be paying an arm and a leg for this divorce, so I might as well start paying you now. This ring is probably worth something. I was like, Tyler, you playing with me. You playing games, Tyler. You playing games. But she basically, they go back and forth or whatever, and they keep doing that innuendo thing where she keep making it seem like she knows who Andy is, and then it comes back that she really doesn't know. She said that she doesn't have any proof because the private investigator isn't coming up with anything. I'd be willing to bet that the husband know about the private investigator, and he probably paying the private investigator double what she paying the private investigator to not tell her nothing, because it can't be that hard. Like, all them times that he show up at Andy's apartment, it can't be that hard to find out where he going. Like, it just can't be that complicated. But neither here nor there. She gets the information of the private investigator, and she's gonna run back and tell old boy. So he been blowing her phone up, apologizing and all this other stuff. But come to find out, he doesn't know that the wife then showed up at her job again. Down to the bank. Danny then showed up at the bank to talk to Sabrina about what happened last night with Zach. She ends up going back and forth with the guy, Sabrina's co-worker. Clearly they have a history. They don't like each other. They have this back and forth banter. Y'all know these scenes, they don't, anyway. But they clearly don't like each other, and they going back and forth. Then, so Danny ends up busting in line to go to talk to Sabrina. She's so damn rude. She is so, hold on, because I don't know what all these messages are. Let me turn my phone off. So She talks to Sabrina and basically tells Sabrina what happened with Zach. And Sabrina was like, okay, he was high. He didn't mean it. She was like, so what you trying to say? You trying to say he couldn't be attracted to me unless he's high? You trying to say that, because it can't be me? And Sabrina was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he was high. And he probably said some stuff that he shouldn't have said. She said, but at the end of the day, you can't go there. And you really need to let Karen know that he's staying at your apartment. And Danny said, I know that. I'm not trying to do nothing with him. Ain't nothing going to go down with him. But, he was saying that, he was interested in me all along, but that, I just try to shield any intimacy with jokes and da-da-da-da-da. And Sabrina was like, but you do. She basically confirmed everything that he told Danny. So now Danny is really sitting there like, for real though, like you gonna turn on me too? And she was like, I'm just saying, I'm just being honest. Like, this is what you do. So Danny ends up leaving, and then we see Zach approach her at work, and at first she tries to avoid him or whatever, and then he says, look, we need to talk about what happened last night. And she was like, what did you even say last night? And he repeated what he said to her verbatim. He said, look, at the end of the day, I meant what I said. I know what I said, and I meant what I said. He said, but I also know that, ain't nothing really going to go down between us. And she was like, yeah, you really need to call Karen. You really need to go work things out with Karen. And he was like, He said, Karen left me. I ain't heard from her. He was like, I screwed up. I know I did. But I've been calling her. I've been trying to reach out to her. She's made it very clear. I thought I turned my phone off. She's made it very clear that she is not interested in us working this out. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm done. He said, but understand something. As long as you keep giving me this Danny, you don't ever have to worry about nothing going on between us. Now that other Danny that I was hanging out with the other night, that I met that first night we hung, that Danny could get it. This Danny don't have nothing to worry about. And so she was like, okay, fine then. Well, then that's what it is. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing gonna go down with us. So, Andy is back at work. Old girl done left. Now Andy got another visitor, somebody without an appointment. Old boy done come to visit her. Karen's dude, the married guy, the wife that cheated on him, he comes down to visit. Doesn't have an appointment or whatever. So Andy calls Karen to confirm, like, look, did you get this dude my name and number? Because he showed up. She was like, what? He actually showed up? She was like, I guess he really is serious about the divorce. Now, we're getting ready to step into Tyler Perry land. So I'm going to go ahead and just we're just going to roll with this. Dude shows up. He already has divorce papers that have been signed. They ain't been notarized. And he was like, look, all I need you to do is file the papers. She said, sir, was your wife represented by an attorney? He was like, nah. She said, well, I think it's probably in her best interest that she has an attorney, because she could come back later and say that she signed these papers under duress. He was like, she don't want no attorney. She said, okay, well, did you get them notarized? He said, no, I didn't get them notarized. She said, well, you need to get the papers notarized. Well, don't y'all have a notary? She said, yeah, but she needs to be here. She needs to be here to sign the papers in front of the notary. Well, I can get her down here in 30 minutes. Is that good for you? She was like, okay. So in the interim, while he go to get his wife, of course, Andy calls Karen to let Karen know, okay, like, dude is really serious about this divorce. Like, he just showed up with papers without the wife. Like, the papers already signed, and he already broke everything down. Like, look, I'm going to give her the house and the car. We're going to share custody of the kids, and I'm going to give her $25,000 a month. Now, I don't know how much money he making. I don't know what he does for a living. But if he can afford to pay $25,000 a month now, and I looked at it, I said, maybe he said $2,500 a month. No, he said $25,000 a month. I said, I want that kind of divorce settlement. Shit. So he ends up coming back with the wife, and the wife is like, I don't want the divorce, but basically, yes, I signed the paperwork, but I don't want the divorce. I really want to work things out with my husband. And he was like, look, ain't nobody got time for all that. Like, there's some, I can't, I don't have but one rule. He said, I can forgive almost anything else except for infidelity. I can't forgive somebody cheating on me. So it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's done. She said, well, can we, I told her to give me 6 months. He was like, you said what? She was like, yeah, I told your new girlfriend to give me 6 months for us to work this out. And if we can't work it out, then she can have you. He was like, you did what? So then that's when they found out that Andy and Karen were friends. Now, again, if you want to talk about conflict, I mean, I know you can refer people, so I guess it's not really a conflict, but it's a conflict if they're dating. But again, I'm going to just let that go. So she says, if I sign the papers, will you give me 6 months to work things out? He was like, yeah, So as soon as she signed the papers, she was like, okay, so can we work things out now? He was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. She said, well, when am I see you again? He said, he said, when I come to get my kids. She said, no, I mean, when are me and you going to work on our relationship? He said, when I forget the sight of that semen stain on your black blouse. I said, damn. Okay, then. And then he proceeded to walk up out of there. Andy goes down to the salon to let, basically to let Karen know that, everything went down, like how everything went down or whatever. So, and of course, she broke all kinds of rules. She ain't supposed to tell that woman all that she told her, but whatever. She did it. It is what it is. They're going to have a girls' night out because Sabrina went down to see Karen and said, look, we need to have a girl. Because she was like, has Danny called you? You sure you ain't talked to Danny? And she was like, I think Danny needs to talk to you. We need to have a girls' night out. We overdue for one. Because, of course, she wants Danny to let Karen know that old boy is staying at her apartment sooner rather than later. So they agree to go ahead and have a girls' night out. So then they bring up the red draws. And she proceeds to have a conversation with Karen about old dude, about the underwear he had on, the fact that he didn't when she tried to pull him up, he didn't want to come up, and so she wasn't sure if he could get an erection, and wasn't sure what they were like, all of that. And so, all of them are sitting there having the same kind of conversation with each other, like, I just don't understand. I mean, does he want to be with me? Does he not want to be with me? Like, what does this mean? Like, he got on, the red underwear. Like, what's really good? Whatever. So he ends up coming down to the bank to see her. And he brings her flowers and stuff. And, of course, he think everything is all good because he doesn't understand that she's upset about the underwear and everything. And so they end up having a conversation about it. And he was like, you didn't want me to come up. Like, I thought that's what you wanted me to do. Like, you seem to not be interested in going all the way. I thought you were happy with just, doing what we were doing. And she said, no, didn't you feel me trying to pull you up? He was like, nah, I was kind of busy. I didn't feel it. He said, didn't your mama teach you how to use your words? Like, all you had to do was say something. And we could have rolled on to the next item on the agenda. I didn't think you were interested, so I didn't want to press the issue. So he said, look, I'm going to come over your house tonight. She said, I'm going out with my friends. He said, I tell you what, you go out with your friends, and I'm going to meet you back at your place. He said, and go on and get a little tipsy. So I guess he going to, he ready to blow her back out now. Like, okay, I done got the green light. It's ready. It's about to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? But how about can we let this storyline go? Like, either the man gonna be gay or he not gonna be gay. I mean, maybe he just like, to feel a silk. I don't know. Now back down to the airport, Danny and Zach end up having another conversation, and basically Zach says to Danny, "Look, you are right. I do need to go talk to Karen." So he decided he gonna go and try to, catch up with Karen, have a conversation with Karen. Now, of course, Danny starts turning it all into a joke again, and he was like, "See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, how do we keep getting back here?" But anyway, so there's that. So then, Karen ends up going home, and who was waiting for her out front of her door is old boy. And he was like, look, I just want to apologize for my wife. And, and she's like, why are you here? Why are you at my house? They doing that back and forth banter. Like, well, I know your friend told you that, I got my divorce and that I'm serious about leaving my wife. And she was like, yeah, but I just don't know if I don't even know if I want this. Like, I don't know if I got time for this hostess. So they do this back and forth, and they end up kissing. Well, just as they end up kissing, who come rolling up on his bike? Zach. I said, Lord have mercy. The timing is just the timing. Anyway, that's what went down. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.